victim on the mic. You thought that was unpredictable as a fan. You could have should have been sitting at ringside with me and Lawler when they come on your segment. You're segment 2 and you're live, and somebody would come in your ear that sound like they've been gargling Drano and say, "We're changing segment 3. Just go with it." And we went with it. It wasn't, like Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth, somebody bringing them herbal tea and a little piece of fruit and powdering them. You're sweating your ass off at ringside, and segment 3's changing. Just go with it. So what we did? We went with it, and everything you heard, nothing was rehearsed, and nothing was. It was just what came out of our heart and what we saw on the monitor and what the men and women did in the ring. So, Brodus, I know you're a fan.
Can I answer that in 2 parts? Question.
No, your question is, what's your memory?
Actually, I have a couple memories, but probably something outside the box was the guy at Radio Shack who helped me figure out a way to hook up a splitter on 2 TVs so I could watch both shows at the same time. Changing the channel, I missed too much. And one of the cool things I liked was all the flip-flopping. When Lex Luger showed up, we were like, "Oh, well, I can't believe he did that." And we were just, you know what I mean? And then Razor Ramon showed up and like, "Man, he's Scott, I know his first name." And then we was just fired up, right? But probably the biggest moment, it was cool when you showed it, remember that? That was cool. Anyway, probably the biggest moment, the part that just, wow, was when WCW got bought. Because I remember sitting there, I was going, "That's Shane O'Mac. What's he doing on WCW? He bought it, son! Oh man, it's crazy. Everyone's gonna come together. It's gonna be this great Olympic of wrestling." Didn't quite go that way, but that was my moment. You should have seen it. I had 2 TVs stacked up. Mama coming from work, like, "Did you put the TV on top of the TV again?" No. If we did, and we leave the dead. Oh, it was crazy, man. It was nuts. I love the wars. Love the wars.
Don't lie to your mama. Call your mama.
Sometimes you gotta.
I know sometimes. You gotta do what you gotta do. CM Punk, I know you've been a fan all your life. You had just kind of gotten your foot in the door in the wrestling business when this Attitude Era was rocking and rolling.
Yep.
What were moments that you brought with you?
Well, I was already selling out VFW halls across the country. In places like Muncie, Indiana, Norman, Oklahoma,
Yeah.
the bustling metropolises of the United States of America. So as the years went on, I religiously started watching less and less and less. But obviously the big moments that I remember Montreal. I remember Mick Foley being thrown off the top of the Hell in a Cell for the sheer insanity of that. And I remember all the stuff that Cold Stone would do to Vince McMahon. He wrecked his Corvette, made him, pee his pants in the middle of the ring. Drove a beer truck up, sprayed him with beer, all that fun stuff. The Attitude Era had this this chaos about it, and leading the charge was Steve, and you didn't know what was going to happen, and that made it fun to watch.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mike, let me guess, I'm either thinking your favorite moment that you actually were hands-on involved was either when you showed up in Fresno and you and Austin got into your extremely stiff shoving match, and many $100 bills fell out of your pocket, and your handlers were scrambling around to put the hundreds back in their pocket, or it might have been your association with DX, or could it have been when you knocked Shawn Michaels out at WrestleMania? You got 3 choices, Mike. I'm not Alex Trebek. I have it all day here.
Okay, I'm just gonna go with
Might go with whoever you want. Take all the time you need, brother.
Shawn Michaels knockout. That was a good one.
That was a great look. Remember the right hand?
Yeah, it was a good one.
Good one.
It was a good one.
We replayed that a lot.
It was a good one.
That was good.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a good one.
No, there was no editing on that one. That was nice and snug, and that's a storyline that you could obviously utilize in this game with Mike if you pre-order it. Shameless plug. CM Punk, you're sitting on the stage with someone who's certainly no stranger to you, and Steve, or Cold Stone, whatever you like to call Mr. Austin. Obviously, he revolutionized this era. How did he and what he did on Monday nights influence what you did early and what you're doing now?
Well, I'm not a big fan of calling the Attitude Era. And what I mean when I say that is, Steve sort of touched on it already. The best things in the history of pro wrestling have always been about attitude. And the guys who have made it, bust through a glass ceiling or made it to the top, whatever you want to call it, they were the ones who had the most attitude. They walk in a room, they command an audience. They, for whatever reason, were angry, were pissed off, knew what was good, and whether they were stepping on toes and pissing people off, the end of the day, the product was amazing, and they knew that what they were going to do was good for business. So, that being said, he's the poster boy for that. Somebody who had been overlooked and not used to his potential, maybe kind of brushed aside for somebody else. This isn't our guy. This guy over here who he used to play football. We're gonna use him. Sorry, Steve. You have to sit down. It's not your turn. Eventually, just saying, you know what, the hell with it. I'm gonna do it, and just doing it. And to me, that's obviously what encompasses the Attitude Era. But that's the same thing I did. That's the same thing anybody who makes it to the top did. You have your whole career and your whole life of people telling you no, 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 and you either start to believe it or you listen to them, or you get pissed off enough that you shove it up their ass and you prove them wrong. And if I took anything from Steve Austin, it was that. I obviously don't lack confidence, but at the end of the day, I also know that what I'm going to do out there, whether it's going to make somebody in the back mad or if it's going to step on somebody's toes, I know at the end of the day, it's the best thing for the business. And that's what I learned just from watching him and his attitude and the way he carried himself and produced and drew money and put asses in the seats and everything.
Can you pass that to Steve, please, or one of those
Sure.
mics? Please, thank you. And of course, so there's to the people in the audience, CM Punk figuratively meant shoving something up someone's rectum, not literally.
If you get me mad enough.
No. We're not doing any prison movies here.
You sure?
Yes.
I think Miz just did a prison movie.
And he also did a film.
A film.
Based on what CM Punk said, how much, or was percentage-wise, how many times, or what the percentage that you go into business for yourself? When we saw you on TV, those of us that knew you knew what we were seeing. And I've always said the best wrestlers are the ones that are extensions of their own personality. You weren't really much different in real life, in my opinion, than you were on television. So how much did you just usually go into business for yourself and call the proverbial ad-lib once you got in the ring and you felt or heard? Because I know a lot of your instincts came from your hearing, even though you're half deaf.
To me, you just go out there and you turn the volume up. Most of the time I like to operate about a 1 or 2. When you go out there and you got 20,000 people to entertain, you turn it up. And if you go into a competitive environment, going back to my football days, it's a killer instinct. You want to survive, you want to start, you want to dominate everything. You got to get your opportunity. And when you don't get an opportunity and you have to make an opportunity, you got to go for it. So anytime I went out there, I always went out there to do business. But I knew business. I've been held back and frustrated for 7.5 years. I finally got fired. ECW picked me up. Paul Heyman kind of coached me up a little bit. I got a chance to see and feel and turn into a laser focus what I felt and was able to verbalize that. When I got the shot to come to WWE, they called me the ringmaster. The suck-ass gimmick. They put me with Ted DiBiase, who I love. He's one of my favorite workers of all time and a great promo, and he was my mouthpiece. I knew that wasn't going to last long. Couldn't sell out any arenas with it. You couldn't put it on a t-shirt. You couldn't market it. So I started thinking of stuff, and we came up with the Stone Cold idea. I pitched that thing to the office, and unceremoniously, they started calling me Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I don't think anybody in the office got it. No one in the back got it. But I knew what I was doing, and I just had to start getting noticed. I had to have a few meetings with Vince in the parking lot. Back in the day, we were trying to save a little money back in, and we'd go live one week, we shoot the next show that night, and we take it to post and put it on the next week. So we're live every other week. I noticed a lot of my lines are being taken out of that post show. So I saw Vince in the parking lot one day, and I said, hey, Vince, I noticed you're editing a lot of my lines. I said, why is that? He goes, well, Steve, quite frankly, you're starting to pop the people in the truck. You guys know if you're popping the people in the truck, you can pop anybody. So I said, well, I'd appreciate it if you stop editing all my lines. So it was just a thing of trying to survive, trying to get a foot in, and then once I got a little bit of traction, blowing every son of a bitch off the road on the way to the top, and that was my mission. It wasn't necessarily going into business for myself, but it was being about me in a company setting and not being satisfied with jerking the curtain, being the match after, the popcorn match after intermission. I've been there, I did it. Didn't want to do it my whole career, and I just had my sights set on a higher goal. So I just went out there, turned up the volume, and in this business, and I say this to the cats behind me, and even to CM over there on the edge, and he's not afraid to go out on a limb, but to the cats behind me, never be afraid to go out on a limb. I wasn't. They can always reel you in, but they can't push you out there any further. That's what I did.
It's good.